Hello, everybody. Little extra content there for you. We wanted to make sure that you had something, and we have a very good story in order to cover.
Indeed, we do. Go ahead. Sorry.
All right. Okay. What do we got? We have an amazing weekend content for all of you. Everything is out of order this time. So what do we got? Let's put this up there on the screen. This is very interesting. Amazon is seeking the recusal of FTC chairwoman Lina Khan in the antitrust investigation of this company. Now, if you don't know anything about Lina Khan, very fascinating figure. About a decade ago, she wrote a big essay about why Amazon flagrantly violates anti-monopoly rules. She now, at the age of, I think, like 33, has found herself as chairwoman of the FTC after a brief stint at Columbia University. It's one of the rocket rises of somebody here in the United States, and she probably is the biggest foe that Amazon has, and Amazon is trying to turn that into a political weapon. So let's put this up there. More perfect union, they actually put it quite well. Step 1, blatantly violate antitrust laws. Allegedly, for Amazon's lawyers and Jay Carney. Step 2, ask anyone who points out your blatant violations to recuse themselves from regulating you because they can't be, quote, impartial. Step 3, profit. And just to tie a little bow as to show you how corrupt the system is, look at this from Matt Stoller, friend of the show, which is that notice the recusal only has to go one way. Throw that next tweet up there, which is that the recusal request was written by Thomas Barnett, who ran antitrust for George W. Bush when Amazon and Google were consolidating markets. He now works for Amazon. So, Krystal, whenever the person who ran antitrust for the government works for Amazon, that person is impartial and is able to work for them. But whenever the person who works in the government who has talked previously about Amazon, they can't be impartial and thus they have to recuse. Got it. Profit. Okay, yeah. I understand.
Yeah, Matt also put it really well there. Like, having an opinion on antitrust is not a conflict of interest. That is really silly. And yes, they should be nervous about Lina Khan because she does have
she's legit
a very thoughtful and deeply knowledgeable understanding of all of the alleged abuses of antitrust law that Amazon is engaged in. The fact that she was put in this position of the FTC is a big deal. For the Biden administration, something that we've talked about here, something we talked to Matt Stoller about, something he was really focused on. So a big deal having her in this position, in part because of her ability to take a look at Amazon. And so now they're trying to cut the strings on this and make it so that she is not actually in a position to regulate or to go after them in any way, which is totally, it's just insane. Yeah. Imagine the application of law that would say, if you have an opinion about anything, you have to recuse. Like, that's completely absurd and silly and ridiculous. So we'll see if they get anywhere with this. There was another piece to the Amazon, just to like show you how sort of abusive and aggressive Amazon is out there in the marketplace. This story also was highlighted by Matt Stoller about one of the things that they do with the companies that they do business with, which are selling products on their platform or which they have some sort of other business deal with their company. They will pressure those companies, according to the Wall Street Journal, to, as part of their contract, provide Amazon with warrants so that Amazon can actually become part owner in their company. This is unheard of, unprecedented. We can throw this Wall Street Journal tear sheet up on the screen that has all the details here. But essentially, you are required, if you're going to do business with Amazon, to give them a part of your company. And these companies talk about how, like, we didn't feel like we were in a position to be able to bargain because Amazon has so much market share, so much market power. And for a lot of these companies, when they take this deal under duress, they are rewarded with a bump in their stock prices, but you're losing control of part of your company. And you do this also with the knowledge that, like, if you're a product seller and you're selling your thing on Amazon, we also know part of what Amazon has done, this is allegations coming out of the EU, is if they see your product flying off the virtual shelves, they'll go and they'll replicate it with their own brand, and then they'll start selling it. So this is, if you're a company, you're faced with this situation of like, well, I could just wait around for them to basically undercut me if I don't play ball here, or I can play ball. So they all essentially fold. This is not normal business practices, guys, to like bully companies that you're doing deals with into giving you the chance to buy in at potentially under market value prices, by the way.
This is classic Standard Oil behavior. And I've had this argument with a million different people around Amazon because they're like, well, private label brands have been a hallmark of the retail industry for years. Yeah, okay. Show me a case of a systematic basis in which Walmart Inc. requires private label brands to sell them below market share privately held shares in their company. Go ahead, please. Go ahead and do it. Show me the same case around like regional monopolies of grocery stores like Kroger, H-E-B, Wegmans, etc. If you can show me that on a systematic basis and convince me that that is par for the course in the retail industry, okay, then maybe. But let's also consider this. Amazon is 51% of all online US retail sales in the United States in the year 2020. That was 10 times more than the nearest competitor. 10 times. And so you look at those numbers and you say, this is what Amazon always says. They're like, well, we're just a tiny part of overall retail. That's ridiculous. We're not talking about overall retail. We're talking about online retail.
Yeah.
And on online retail, you're 51% of all of sales. And when you have that level of market share, and then you're using it specifically to this case, like right now, with the suppliers, pressuring them to buy around the private label businesses. Like I said, and I've talked about it on this before, podcasts and here, which is that if you think about it, Walmart can preference its own stuff only to a certain degree.
Yeah.
As in, they might be able to place their stuff a little higher on the shelf, but still on the shelf. It's in your eye line. Amazon can derank you and make it so that it doesn't appear. And how many people actually click? How many of you out there click the second page whenever you search for something on Amazon?
Yeah.
Let's be real here, all right? Let's be
Whatever
real.
pops up to start with.
That's what you get.
That's your choice.
That's what you get.
Yeah.
Everybody knows it. I do it too. I'm guilty. I'm just guilty as sin. I'm just like all of you.
This is what Google
Right.
does in their search results.
Exactly.
Too.
They
privilege
pay
their
for
own
search,
stuff.
they privilege their own stuff, and they let people pay for what comes up on top. And so you put all this together, we're dealing with a fundamentally different product on Amazon.com than we are dealing in any other store, and they have enjoyed the privileges of being treated like a normal retail company. They are not a normal retail company, and this ain't a scrappy little upstart anymore. We're talking about the world's America's second largest employer behind Walmart, who now owns Hollywood, remember they're MGM. They just went and bought a major Hollywood studio. They're the second largest employer in terms of the labor force, retail industry. Everything concerns Amazon.
Let me give one more specific example here that Matt Stoller and More Perfect Union also pointed out, which is that just to give you a sense of like how far this type of behavior goes for Amazon, there's a robotics company called Kiva that Amazon uses in their warehouses to help, expedite that process, which, leads to other questions about automating workers out of existence. But we'll save those questions for another day. So they buy this robotic system, which had been used by not only Amazon, but I believe Walmart and a bunch of their other competitors. And then once they bought the company, they said, nah, you can't use this anymore. So again, putting these other companies at a massive competitive disadvantage because Amazon is big enough to just casually buy this gigantic robotics company, leaving everybody else in a very difficult position to be able to compete, to be able to fulfill orders in a timely fashion, et cetera. So this is how they operate in every single way. They're just a gigantic bully and they abuse power however they can. I wanted to read the last paragraph of this Wall Street Journal article because it shows that even the executives who are involved in these deals of forcing companies to basically give up a piece of the company to Amazon, they say former Amazon executives said they avoided doing anything during supplier negotiations, like putting its ultimatums in writing that would give fodder to critics who've said Amazon abuses its power, people like us. One of the former executives said that most companies complied with its demands over warrants. Several former Amazon executives who worked on such deals said in interviews they found them to be unfair and one-sided, saying the companies were not in a position to refuse, and most of the upside went to Amazon. So even the executives are saying this felt really terrible and it was unfair and these companies had no power.
Yeah, they're like, it was unfair, it felt bad, but Bezos made me do it.
So I did it anyway.
Like I said, I've read a lot about Bezos.
But I'll anonymously leak to the Wall Street Journal.
This is the ethos of how Bezos built Amazon. And like I said, I respect it. In 1999, but it ain't 1999 anymore. It's 2021. And in 2021, this type of practice, when you own 51% of market share, is not the same thing as when Barnes & Noble and Borders are trying to do deals in order to screw you. Like, it's not, they have this saying within Amazon called always day one. And like I said, from a business perspective, I totally get it. But from a government public perspective, we start to have to get involved around the says of how you've got to do business whenever you have so much of the public good, which is in your hands. And I think that we have become well past that point whenever it comes to Amazon.com.
Indeed.
Right.
Thanks for hanging out with us, guys. Enjoy your weekend, and we will see you back here soon.
Love you guys.
Hey, guys, thanks so much for watching.
That's right. Just as a reminder, you can become a premium subscriber today. Watch the full show completely uncut, our reactions to each other's monologues. You get to listen to it. You get to ask us questions, all that good stuff. Link is right there in the description or at breakingpoints.com.
Best of all, great way to say screw you to the mainstream media.